Hello, everyone, and welcome to Whole Dog Care podcast. And on today's episode, we have a fantastic guest. We have Paula Wilson from Health Rediscovered. Paula is an absolute badass in her niche. She is helping people to improve their overall health and well-being through amazing acupuncture and cupping, life and health coaching. And basically, she does for humans what I try to do for dogs. She teaches the patients to take back control of their health. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
How are you?
Absolute pleasure. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Good.
So Paula, do you just want to kind of give us a wee intro, like tell us what you do, how you got into it, yeah, and just let everybody know who you are.
Certainly. As you said, I'm Paula. I own a wee clinic in the centre of Glasgow called Health Rediscovered. I also have other therapists that work alongside me, so it's not just me. I've also got an osteopath, massage therapist, other bits and pieces. But me, I have been in practice for 16 years now, which just blows my brain. So I have been in the world of acupuncture, and acupuncture, I think, sometimes people get, well, they don't understand it fully, obviously, because why would you unless you've had it or
Yeah.
even know about it? But people think of it as just about the needles, and it's not. It's about so much more. It's a totally different way of looking at how the body works.
Yeah,
We look at it in
totally.
a very different way to any other medicine that I've looked at. There are some similarities with Ayurvedic medicine, actually, yeah, it's very interesting stuff. Sorry, pure tangent.
That's what we're
So
here
the
for.
question said me, how did I get into it? Oh yeah, I was living in South Korea teaching English,
Wow.
and I burnt myself. I scalded myself, and one of the treatments offered for the burn was acupuncture.
Amazing.
And it was a second degree burn, or a partial thickness as we call it in the UK. And I should have a scar, and there is no evidence that I've ever even been burnt. And it was quite a big, substantial burn right around this wrist. So that was my very first experience of it. And then it was like, oh, that's quite interesting. And then thankfully, the clinic I was going to, actually, I was already going there anyway. They did this week in a Tai Chi type class.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a dog podcast without dogs barking in the
I
background.
know, I know. Every time I come to the most secluded bit in the house and he just kicks off, and I bet you what he's doing is he's barking at his own reflection on the TV.
It's got to be done in it. Mine are at daycare today, so I'm safe.
Oh, yeah, just carry on. He'll shut up in a minute.
I know. I just think I couldn't not comment on it, but it's just funny. Yeah, so absolutely. Then I got to watch other people. So he let me, because I knew some of the other patients basically, I got to watch him treating them as well. And that just sparked an interest, really. And that was back in 2003. Came back to the UK, got my degree. So I got a Bachelor of Science, and then started working in 2007 back in Glasgow. And I've been here ever since, basically working away. Spent a bit of time in China,
Wow.
working in a hospital there, seeing how they learn it and do it.
That must have been so
Use it.
interesting.
Oh, it really was. I learned quite a few things of what I will not be doing, because it's China. Their health and safety is slightly different to ours, but also learned a lot. But the biggest thing, honestly, the biggest thing I took away from China, apart from all the fabulous holiday stuff, was that actually I know what I'm doing. My degree training had set me up right. Do you know, it wasn't just some wee flash the pan course or something. Do you know, and it was like, I've got confidence now. I actually know what I'm doing. I'm doing the same stuff as these people.
That's totally it. I think when you see things in practice, it's like for me with the dogs as well, when I see the difference that it makes to the patient, it's like, wow,
Yes.
I'm actually good at that.
Yeah, absolutely. It still blows my brain every now and then. Like, I'm still 16 years in, I'm still blown away by the difference it can make with people. Yeah. And what's been nice about meeting you and doing one of your courses was learning how to use it on my dogs more. Because although I've got all my training, like I'm a massage therapist as well, I wasn't that confident using it with my dogs because I don't know dog anatomy and stuff. So yeah, that wee course.
Yeah, but that's it. It's like, although I'm trained to do it on humans, I don't have the confidence to do it on humans. Like I've never worked with humans. I've always worked with dogs. I always say I work with dogs for a reason. And yeah, it's always, so when you see other people doing it the opposite way, it's just like, wow, that's amazing. Like I've got an injury on my hand and my foot just now. I've probably told you this already, but I went to see Harry Styles with my wee girl a few weeks ago and I fainted on the train on the way home.
Yes.
And my ankle kind of like buckled underneath me and it was so painful. And I've not been resting it properly. I've been like pushing myself, and last night I was in absolute agony. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to put together a wee blend because my husband reminded me. He was kind of like, remember that blend you made me eat when I fell down the stairs and hurt my ankle? And I'm like, oh yeah. So I did that last night, and see this morning I just feel like so much better.
Oh, good.
My hand, I think, embarrassingly, I think it's like repetitive strain from holding my mobile. I think that's what it is. And I've
Yes.
massaged all the oils in, and honestly, like I can move my hand properly. And it's kind of like, why didn't I think of this weeks ago? It's like it takes somebody else sometimes a wee different perspective to.
Yes. And a bit of that physician heal thyself and all that as well, don't you? I think
Yeah,
we forget.
totally. Yeah.
We're last on the list. And by the way, see if you've got phone RSI from holding it. These things, I can't recommend them enough. It's just a little bit of elastic,
Oh,
but it then means that I'm not actually holding my phone.
yeah.
Because I noticed quite honestly during lockdown, so when I suddenly couldn't do anything, it turned out my phone was my best pal. And my hand got really sore because I wasn't doing anything else other than just sitting on my
Yeah,
phone for the first
totally.
wee while
That's
anyway.
it. It's like the bit, like I'm there between my index finger and my thumb, and I'm just like,
I
what
see what
is
you're
that? And then I'm like, oh, it's holding my phone. Anyway, we've digressed.
lifesavers. Yeah, genuinely, that's given me my life, my hand back anyway. Aye.
So can you just explain like the
Yes.
process of like acupuncture? We'll come to cupping in a wee minute, but can you explain like the process of it and actually what it does?
Oh, nobody knows.
Yeah.
They haven't worked. Honestly, they haven't worked it out yet. There's lots of theories and there's lots of evidence, but in the same ways, actually, they don't know how pharmaceuticals work. They just know it does, but they don't know the how.
Yeah.
They haven't worked out the mechanisms. The last I read, research-wise, was that it's to do with acupuncture stimulating a precursor to the neurotransmitters
Okay.
that we function by. And it
Okay.
begins with a C, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's based on embryological development. So that's what, yeah, so they kind of know, but they're still working out. How it works or what it does, it has this real incredible ability to essentially regulate our nervous system. So it brings everything back into where it should be. Most of us live with some level of chronic stress. So even just taking the fight or flight thing and that sense of people being stressed,
Yeah.
taking that out of the equation, it then means they're back into the rest and digest, which also then means they're back in heal. So it does that, but it regulates lots of stuff actually. It releases endorphins, it regulates the nervous system, it regulates neurotransmitters, so it boosts all your dopamine and serotonin, all the happy stuff, oxytocin, all that kind of stuff. It's genuinely regulatory, and the process, it does vary. So there's over 1,000 acupuncture points in the human body.
Right. Okay. Wow.
And on average, a treatment with me, I will use between 5 and 20 of those acupuncture points, depending on what's going on.
Okay.
So it goes from 1,000 right down to this little funnel. So it's what I do for the first session. You sit and have a very long conversation with me about what your symptoms are, and then lots of other general stuff. Usually people come with something. So
Yeah.
like you rock up with your sore wrist or something. It's like, oh well, I fell and I've done da da da, and then we'll chat about that. But then I'll also ask you all sorts of kind of general questions about just how life is for you and
Yeah.
what your body's telling us. Your body's always, our bodies are always giving us signals. And acupuncture categorizes them in a way, or Chinese medicine, I should say, categorizes them in a way that allows me to then go from 1,000 down to, right, I need to do these points and then they'll be fine. Is the gist of it. I hope that makes some sort of sense. I see it as a communication. So I'm talking to your body. Our
Yeah.
bodies want to be healthy.
Yeah. Definitely. And
And
the really interesting thing is, we spoke about it before, is you say that people have come to you because they've seen the benefits that their dogs have received from
yes,
receiving acupuncture.
absolutely, genuinely, yes. And also a vet that I work with, or have worked with, absolutely adorable woman, because she was too scared to put needles in herself, but she is a vet who's trained in acupuncture, and all she does now is acupuncture,
That's nice.
as a vet practitioner. And we've had like kind of professional conversations around, what would you do with this condition? And then chatted around what we would do and stuff. It's been really interesting. And I've also spoke to her about needling my dogs. Interestingly, well, in the UK, I find this really interesting. It says a lot about our legal system. So, although I hold a degree in acupuncture and like the highest level in the UK that's available qualification wise, I'm not allowed to needle an animal
Right, okay.
without being in the presence of a vet. But for
Okay.
humans, there is no regulation whatsoever. Zero.
Wow, that's mental.
Isn't that? I
Yeah.
actually think it's petrifying the fact
It's
that
good
people
that
can.
the animals are looked after, but yeah,
It's great
that's
that the
just a
animals are
bit
looked after. Like,
just a bit
yeah,
nuts. So like I could take Ziggy into the vet and say like, yeah, can I get one too? It's just a
yeah.
bit nuts.
I know. I don't think they're allowed to do humans, to be fair. I don't think they are. But yeah, like there was a time when I think I'm allowed to practice if I've obviously done an extra qualification, but I have to be in the presence of a vet at all times. So it was just like, that's just not feasible,
What's
is
the
it? Do you know,
point?
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I just find it really interesting that we don't care about humans, but we'll make sure our animals are all right.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, I did say going back to the whole I work with dogs for a reason. I find it like so interesting. Like I do a lot of like kind of the energy healing. And when I first started doing that with dogs, people were a bit kind of skeptical, like, does this work? And and now that we've started seeing results, we now remember like one of my very first clients. Her dad was so like he asked me so many questions. He was just waiting on me to trip up, I think.
Yeah,
And at the end of it, he was like pure high five on me going out the door. It's like
awesome.
you didn't trip up. You gave me all the info, and my dog is now like so chilled and happy. And that dog actually suffers from epilepsy, but we've managed to
Okay.
get her to a point where between the energy healing, the massage, and using the essential oils and stuff, she doesn't actually have to be on any medication, which is
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
So yeah,
That's
we
incredible.
just manage it. And what I did was I taught the owners how to do it for
Yes.
themselves so that they don't have to keep coming back to me all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
A bit like the
Yeah.
empowerment
What
that
we
you
did.
give to
Yeah.
humans, I want to give
Absolutely.
to owners
Yeah.
to be able to do that for their dogs. So but anyway, I've digressed again.
No, not at all. Digress
So
is always good.
tell me a bit more about the cupping, because to me that always looks quite painful. So explain the process.
It's cupping isn't unique to Chinese medicine. A lot of people think it is. It's not. It's actually a patient of mine who studies Scottish history found a book that's what was it? Something like the 15th century in Scotland where we're using cupping. But anyway,
How
I
is
think
this?
it was something like that. Anyway, cupping is I've seen it called all sorts of things. It's basically a massage tool. So it's just one
Okay.
of the extra tools I use. So I use needles, I use cups, I use metal things, scrapers, it's called gua sha. I also use my hands, I massage, I use electroacupuncture, there's loads of different bits. But cupping is, yeah, it's basically a massage tool. That's how I see it. And it's not the nicest thing in the world. I won't deny it's not. Like, it has that, do you know when you're getting a good massage and it's kind of sore but kind of nice?
Yeah.
That's where cupping lives. And that kind of, oh, I think this is, yep, it's okay. But it takes that moment. You're not going, that's lovely, from the first second. But once, so I use traditional fire cups. So
Okay.
I have these glass cups that I put a flame in and then the cup goes onto the body.
Right.
Usually put some oil on first because it helps reduce any kind of pulling pain and stuff that you get from the cup going on most of the time. And doesn't feel hot or anything, but usually once it's been on for about 5 seconds, you kind of forget it's there. It's the weirdest feeling, and genuinely, I actually say this quite regularly. I'm like, if you find an adjective to describe what this feels like, please tell me, because I've been doing this for years and I've still not worked it out. There's a lifting and a pulling to it, like you're aware of that lift up, but it's also a pressure.
Right.
It's
Okay.
really weird.
That sounds a bit like what the surgeon said to me when I was having my C-sections. There's going to be a bit of pushing and pulling here. But because
Having
I
never
was
had one, I can't compare, but I imagine it's slightly different. It's not, yeah, not quite the
yeah.
same.
Obviously, I was numbing completely out my face on
Aye, but you're still
morphine or
aware of being
whatever. So
moved
yeah,
around, aren't you? Yeah.
no idea.
No, this is much more of a massage thing. Yeah, and it's for me because you're creating the difference between that and doing like standard massage type stuff for me. is that it creates space in the body.
Okay.
So much time we're really congested and all stuck. You know, when you've got a tense muscle and then it all kind of, the fibers go all a bit strange and all that kind of stuff, and they end up with like basically the waste product stuck in the muscles.
Yeah.
Because the cupping creates space, it then pulls them apart a little bit, which then allows things to move. For me, it's always like, I almost always boil everything down that I do to improving blood flow. Like, if we get the blood moving, if we get your body doing what it's supposed to be doing, it'll figure itself out.
So it's a bit like that when I talk to people about like dogs and improving their dog's health as well. I always go to those two things. It's first of all, what's their gut health like? What are they eating? You know, do they have really good nutrition? And can we get, you know, the body moving properly? Can we get the blood flow going? And, you know, can we create that little bit of flexibility? And once we kind of, I mean, dogs' bodies are amazing. Like they just, because they have no skepticism, they're not like us. They don't go, is this going to work for me? They're just like, oh, that feels good. Yeah, bring it on. You know, so dogs are just, you know, they just take like kind of anything that you throw at them because they know their bodies just instantly know how to use the energy that you're giving them. So you always go back to, right, you know, good nutrition. Yep, sometimes it's really not. So and then can we get the blood flowing, and can we get the body moving the way that it should do? And you know yourself, if you can do that, then you've got a
The
really good
body will
fighting
take care of
chance.
itself. Yeah, the
That's
body will
that.
figure
Yeah.
itself out. Yeah, nutrition's a whole minefield in it for both humans and animals. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
But
no, it's so controversial for dogs as well. It's just like la 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 la. You know, you do you. That's
research. See you later. It's the same with humans, to be fair. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Whoever's the closest friend.
yes, it can be a bit of a minefield, but that's been super interesting, just that kind of insight into what you do and obviously how it helps humans to improve their overall health, and like that you get referrals from humans because they've seen the
Absolutely.
improvements in their dogs, which
Yes, they
is just
have definitely.
absolutely
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, there's been several over the years actually that's the reason they've came, genuinely, because like, well, my dog had it and I saw a major difference for them.
Yeah.
So here I am. And thankfully I've been able to make them feel better too. So that's always good. More often than not, I think dogs get it for pain conditions and arthritis. That seems to be the two big things that I
Yeah,
hear. Obviously, I'm not treating it, but that's what I hear people are tending to get it for. But
yeah.
for humans, we tend to use it for a lot more, to be honest. It's,
Yeah, that's it. I
yeah.
mean, dogs. Yeah, I'm actually looking at acupuncture for Ziggy, my oldest dog. He's got
Mm,
a little bit of arthritis in his back legs. Not too much. But he's, although he doesn't mind a massage, it's not his favourite. So I'm thinking that, you know, we'll look at some acupuncture for him. But I mean, God love him, he's 17. You know, he's doing really really well. Um, but yeah, I think it's more for dogs. It's more, as you say, like managing pain and like arthritis and stuff.
yeah.
God love them. There's not an awful lot of options and choice out there, which is kind of why I'm doing kind of what I'm doing, is so that the owners
Yes.
have
Yeah.
options. They don't always have to throw pharmaceuticals at it, or
Yes.
toxins or anything like that. We can do something that's nice and natural, and just helps them live that wee bit
Yeah.
better. Um,
And even for me, some of the work I do, I know, is about managing the side effects. So, like,
yeah,
that drug is essential to that person's life for whatever reason, like cancer
totally,
drugs or
yeah.
whatever. Then absolutely we'll go down that route, but then let's manage it and let's
Yeah,
keep your body as well as possible with
totally,
that. You know,
that's
so
it.
it's not always, doesn't
Yeah,
have to be either or. I
yeah, of
think is what
course
I'm
they
saying.
can
It's like,
totally work in, you know, unison together. You know, you can have
absolutely.
the pharmaceuticals because yeah, you really really need them to sometimes keep you alive,
Yes.
um but we can do other things to help you manage the symptoms and the side effects, and just ultimately as well, you know, I was doing like a blog the other day about heal versus cure, and obviously
Mm,
although the dictionary definitions of them are pretty much the same, they do very, very different things.
yes.
Um, and obviously, when you're healing your body and looking after it, then you feel a wee bit better. I mean, like Zane, my middle dog, he lives with cancer. I'm never ever going to cure him of that because it's just so huge. He's got a massive, massive growth in his ear, but because his age and just over the position of it, surgery wasn't an option for him, so it's
Yeah.
palliative care, and it literally is just about him or helping him to heal his body so that he can live the best life that he can for whatever time he has left.
Yeah.
And we took him to the vet the other day, and they were just like, "What are you doing with him? Just whatever you're doing, just
Give
keep
me your
doing it."
secrets.
Because he looks amazing,
Good.
and he's doing great. And I ask him every day, I check his body every day. I ask him every day, is he in pain? Is he in discomfort? And so far, thankfully, so good. He hasn't been. But obviously, if he tells me that he is, and I know that sounds stupid, like how can he tell you? But there's ways
Oh,
of
you can
communicating with
tell.
them. You know that yourself. There's ways of communicating.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, he's doing great, and I think that's just what it's all about. It's just about trying to help people and animals live their best lives.
Absolutely. It's quality of life, isn't it? Rather than
Ah,
just
yes.
preventing death, essentially.
Yeah.
Which to me is more or less what Western medicine's about these days. It's just about, let's just keep you alive at all costs. Doesn't matter if it's, anyway, it's
Yeah.
again, falling. Shush with the rabbit holes. Yeah.
I know we
This
could
is
be here
always
all day,
interesting.
couldn't we? But no, thanks so much, Paula. That has been such an amazing insight into what you do. Where can the humans find you? Where can all these
Humans can
doggone
find me.
stuff in?
If you want in-person stuff, then my clinic is in the city centre. The website is healthrediscovered.co.uk. I do some online consultations where I'll talk through all the different options. So for me, it's not just about sticking needles in you. We also do, as I said, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about things we can change, diet, all that sort of stuff. So we can do all that online and give you the acupressure points. But if you want actual treatments, then the clinic's in the city centre at the moment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks very much for
Thank
being
you.
our guest today, Paula.
Pleasure.
And
Speak to you
yeah,
soon.
hopefully you can catch that on our podcast, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you.